Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. These are a few of the reasons why I feel that this empire will fall. And in case I forget to tell you later on, this is why we need to prepare and stay prepared. Our society is fractured and fragile. I believe that it will only continue to fracture as time goes on. Take into consideration just a few of the things that are seriously wrong with the system by which we live. If you've been following me for a while, you probably know that I am going to start this talk with how fragile our monetary and financial system is. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, the Federal Reserve / Treasury have only two options. Their first option is to continue to inflate our monetary base in order to prop up the stock market. What happens if they continue to inflate the monetary base? Inflation in the price of what we buy will continue to rise higher and higher the more they print. Their second option is to stop inflating the monetary base and propping up the markets. What do you think will happen if the Fed shuts the flow of easy money? If you said the financial system will collapse, then you are correct. Our nation's monetary policy and deficit spending is at best mediocre, if not disastrous. At the very best, we are on par with what is called a banana republic. We are dependent on one crop to get us by, and one crop alone. The Federal Reserve note, or as many of you know it, the dollar, is that crop. Our national debt just surpassed $26 trillion, a number that many cannot comprehend. If we got serious about paying back the national debt, which in itself is an impossible task, and we paid back $1 million per hour, every hour of every day, it would take us 2,968 years to pay back $26 trillion. We will never pay this debt off because it's impossible to pay it off. And remember, who is slave to the lender? The borrower is slave to the lender. And for those of you that don't know what is used to back the value of the Federal Reserve note, the Federal Reserve note is guaranteed to have value derived from the services and products that are created by the people of the United States of America, meaning that it is your labor and your intellect that is used to back up the value of the Federal Reserve note. That is why they have to keep us working, ladies and gentlemen. We are cattle to those who create currency out of thin air. And every time that a new dollar is created and introduced into our economy, it takes a bit of value from those dollars that you earned in the past, are earning in the present, and have saved for the future. Many will say that this is a just practice because we need more money in order to keep up with the increasing population of the world. But I would say that it is all of the money printing and the borrowing of future wealth and labor that has led us to live the standard of living we have grown accustomed to, and has encouraged the growth in population that we have witnessed within the last half-century. Our military spending is and has been out of control for many decades, as evident by the number of countries that we occupy around the world. The U.S. maintains nearly 800 military bases throughout the world. Do you think we could do this without deficit spending or money creation? Absolutely not. When compared to the next 10 biggest military budgets in the world, the US spends more than all 10 countries combined. In addition to the transparent funds that are tracked as being spent on the military, there are a total, if not more, of $21 trillion that are not accounted for by the Pentagon. As soon as this discovery was made, the Pentagon made the information about the unaccounted $21 trillion classified and not for public release. They said it was a matter of national security. It's our money they're spending, ladies and gentlemen, and yet they cannot account for $21 trillion. Our nation's infrastructure is in shambles and continues to be neglected, leaving us with rotting bridges, roads, dams, and a very fragile electrical grid. Take, for example, the Orville Dam in California. If this dam fails, it will cause a catastrophe that would impact a very large percentage of the food production in this country. And this is only one dam. Remember all of those shovel-ready jobs? Well, all of the shovel-ready jobs that have been promised for decades at the hands of politicians have never manifested into a thing other than a slogan to buy votes. As the U.S. continues to use the power of our military and the power that the Federal Reserve Note has in the global trading forum, more and more countries are growing tired of having to kneel to the mighty dollar and to the power of the U.S. military. Just as the lower half of our citizens have been left by the wayside, so have other countries. And I feel that they will not continue to follow the lead of this nation, as it is not benefiting their people, and they are just as sick of the bully tactics, such as sanctions, as the people who have been left by the wayside in our country itself. When people have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And when countries have nothing left to lose, they go to battle, either with other countries or within their borders. Our moral compass is no more. Look at what's happened to the family unit, and look at how easily we as a nation turn our heads when our government, in our name, takes the lives of innocent people, be it here or abroad. I feel it is okay to justly remove an enemy from this earth, but it has to be an enemy and not collateral damage. Just as the saying goes, I'd rather let 100 guilty men go free than to mistakenly imprison an innocent one. Should we not hold those same standards to all people, whether they are Americans or not? What is just in taking the lives of dozens of innocent people just to take the life of one guilty person? Our representatives live by the rule of man instead of the rule of law. Is it okay for elected representatives to not have to follow the same rules and obey the same laws that their constituents are expected to obey? The United States is an empire, and all empires fall. Just as Rome occupied countries on 3 different continents, the U.S. occupies countries on almost every continent. Just as Rome had the largest military in the world, so does the U.S. Just as Rome debased its money until it was worthless, so is the U.S. As the Federal Reserve Note has lost about 98% of its purchasing power since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913. Just as Rome subsidized foods by taking from some in order to give to others, so does the U.S. Although it may seem appropriate to feed the hungry, it is not the job of the government to give, as it does not produce and can only take. Charity should be left up to the citizenry and not be facilitated by force. Our government officials know exactly what is coming down the pike. Why do you think they have spent so many years and so many dollars militarizing law enforcement departments throughout the nation? Anyone who has been deployed in a combat environment will tell you that the average law enforcement officer patrolling the streets is just as well armed and armored than many of those deployed to combat zones. The question is, who is the enemy? Ladies and gentlemen, our empire is falling, and there is nothing we can do about it. It's a cycle. All we can do on an individual and communal basis is to prepare, prepare, prepare. Take control of those things that you can now, before you no longer have that option. Sustenance, medicine, self-defense, wealth preservation. These are some of the things that I can control now and will continue to stockpile for the day that those things become unavailable or impossible to obtain. I hope that this has helped you to decide to begin to prepare if you are not already preparing. I hope that if you are preparing, that this helps you to find the motivation to continue to prepare and help those that you love to become prepared as well. We have to remember that we are all in this together, and the division within our nation is not a product of humanity, but a product of corruption. Thank you very much for spending a few minutes with me today, ladies and gentlemen. I truly hope that if you are not preparing, that you consider starting. If you are just passing by and you would like to begin preparing for anything, consider subscribing to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, and joining a great community of like-minded people that take pleasure in helping each other and enjoy picking each other up. Remember to be good to each other, because when good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.